Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Mirai E. From my previous episode, I talked about how McDonald's was founded and built as an empire, and how McDonald's is actually closer to a real estate company rather than a restaurant business. And for this episode, I'm gonna talk about a specific case study for McDonald's called MilkShake Mistake. So this case is one of McDonald's very classical business case, which was published in Harvard Business Review and MIT Sloan Management Review by Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen. McDonald's once launched an internal project. The goal was to increase the sales of MilkShake. The general process for such project includes defining the market position of the product, selecting the group who are most likely to buy a milkshake, and then organize those people into subcategories like sex, age, background to do some interviews. And those interview questions are like, do you prefer chocolate or vanilla? Do you want them to be cheaper or smaller? And eventually, the researcher will come up with a conclusion and give a feedback to the brand. After such a toss, McDonald's milkshake has made more and more progress in taste and cost performance, but sales have not increased much. Later, McDonald's invited Professor Christensen of Harvard Business School to continue the study to see if they can come up with a new solution. At first, Christensen's team focused mainly on product as well. They did a lot of research on the product, but did not draw any new conclusion. At this time, one researcher in the team decided to ignore the milkshake itself, but go directly to the customer. He sat in one McDonald's store for 18 hours a day, observing who was buying the milkshake and when. He found something very interesting. 40% of McDonald's milkshake were sold in the morning. The customers who bought this milkshake were usually one person, and they would not buy any other food to go with the milkshake. He takes the milkshake back to the car and drank. Christensen's team found it very strange, because drinking a milkshake in the morning did not seem to fit everyone's impression or expectation of the food. So they started interviewing this customer who bought milkshake and asked them why they buy milkshakes. Then they finally discovered the reason. First of all, they have to drive a long and boring commute to work, so they want to buy something to drink to pass the time. Secondly, these people generally have some restriction on eating. They are busy going to work, so they cannot wait for too long. They cannot get dirty while wearing a work clothes. Most people can only free one hand because they have to drive. After observing these, Christensen made a very classic point. He wrote in his book, when we buy a product, we essentially hire something to get a job done. If it does a job well, when we are confronted with the same job, we hire the same product again. In the McDonald's milkshake example just now, the customer core task is find something fun and delicious to pass the time on the boring commute to work. Moreover, this thing has to be not subject to various restrictions on the scene they go to work in the morning. With this discovery, researchers continue to ask these customers what other products can also complete their task. As a result, they found out that milkshake was the best choice. Things like bread is generally too dry and not so fun as for the commute. But if you put stuffing or fruit inside the bread, it's easy to stain their clothes or make your hands dirty. In fact, cakes or donuts often make your fingers sticky, and fruit like bananas can quickly be finished into 2 bites. So they couldn't pass their time up to their commute. But a cup of milkshake. You can drink slowly for more than 20 minutes without taking up 2 hands. And it is not easy to get dirty. As for whether the milkshake is healthy or not, no one really cares. Because this is not the reason why customers hire your product for. Based on all these findings, the Christensen team gave McDonald's 3 feedbacks. First, they can consider making milkshake thicker so that customer can drink it longer, while especially in their commute time. Second, they can consider adding some fruit into the milkshake, which will increase the fun when drinking milkshake and occasionally sucking up a piece of fruit will give customer a sense of surprise and help them pass the boring journey. Since these people only buy milkshake in the busy morning, McDonald's can also optimize their buying experience. For example, with an exclusive milkshake card, you can get to the milkshake at a designated window without having to wait in line with other customers. After the introduction of this measurement, McDonald's milkshake have significantly increased. Later, Christensen named this project as MilkShake Mistake, and it has important two perspectives. The first is that people tend to focus too much on the product itself and forget to think about what kind of test customers want to accomplish by buying or hiring the product. The second is that companies tend to understand their target market only according to outdated ideas. For example, dividing the customer according to age, gender, geographic location, etc. But in the case just now, the most important customer of MilkShake is someone who drives to work alone. This is not simply described by age or income. Harvard Business School professor Theodore Levitt once said, "People don't want to buy a quarter-inch drill, they want a quarter-inch hole." After finishing this project, Christensen made a very important conclusion. The important thing is to observe your customer with empathy. Indeed, understand what are the real needs and desires hidden behind their action, and see the essence through appearance. Only in this way, we can make the right products. So, this was a story about the milkshake mistake. Hope you guys liked the video. If you guys did, please press like and subscribe button as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!